Deneyebiliriz. Bir konuşsunlar.
Deneyelim mi?
Evet.
Sesim yeterince geliyor mu?
Bence geliyor.
Tamam, süper. Teşekkür ederim.
Ses.
Evet, deniyoruz.
Sound check.
Ses. Ses. Ses. Ses. Okay.
Daniel?
Ses,
Geliyor.
sound check.
Daniel? Sorry. Can we switch? So we have... No, you stay there. Woman? Yes. Exactly. Oturacak mı? Tamam. Okay.
Böyle mi oturalım?
Cansel ortada otursa daha iyi olur. Evet, ortada sen otur. Because you're leading the conversation.
Ses. Ses. Welcome everybody for our third day at Winter League Antalya, Turkey, and we are going to focus for today's second panel. The subject is personal brand management after an elite career. Moderator Cansel Kemiksiz, and we have as speakers Daniel PANCU, coach at Romania Under-20 national team, Julie Gulsev, KASSAP founder at Number One Sports Consulting, and Sol Campbell, professional football coach at Sol Camp Limited. So I will give you the stage, Cansel, and enjoy your speech. Thank you.
Thank you. So I just want to start with Julie.
Okay.
Julie, what do you think about elite management, brand management for players?
Yes, so thank you so much for having us here. I think this is one of the very important conversations we should also have is for players after their career, what they can do, and also how they are kind of left with certain challenges. Because while they have their career, they are surrounded with a lot of agents and club managers and press. And after their career, they are left alone mostly. And I think we need much more support for players there. So I'm very happy that we have this conversation, and it's very nice to have it with these legends here. So what is really important for players is first of all to understand there's like player management where you have your agents who take care a little bit of your career, like mostly of your career if you allow them. There are some players right now, the new generation of players, who are very active. They want to have a brand, they want to be more an entrepreneur. But when we look at the past, we saw a lot of players were just trusting on their agent. First of all, they didn't even know what kind of contract they signed. They just know that they are practicing here, but they don't even know what is said in the contract, So we have that case, and then the other case is that we have, not everybody will become a legend. So not everybody will have a outrageous performance skill, So it's kind of you're developing your career. And when we analyzed, because I was studying sports management, and my bachelor thesis was about social media concepts for football player. 10 years ago, we were already seeing that certain players, like what happened to Ronaldo, Cristiano, and Messi? Why did they got so hyped in the media? Of course, first of all, it was their performance, but they also had a very professional team behind them who did their brand management, who were doing the completely press in creating an image. Ronaldo was that sexy, good-looking guy, you know, got his first sponsorship deals off the pitch, not the sponsorships as a player. It's the sponsorships as a person, as a personality and brand. And then CR7 came, you know, and CR7, like all these brands where he started to have his own socks and his underwear, and he was playing with that image. So yes, you have that chance, you know, to build up. And then if you're not getting that kind of media attention, or if you don't have that kind of performance on the pitch, then it's really important that players mostly are kind of pushing that phase of their life a little bit to the side. They're saying, oh, I will think about this when my career is going to end. But unfortunately, career can always end with injuries. You have a lot of challenges, you know. And I totally get, and we definitely agree on that as well. You cannot build parallel. It's impossible. Because you need to be extremely dedicated on the pitch to have this high performance all the time with so many now also tournaments and challenges. So it's kind of impossible to build something on the side. But what I would advise definitely players, first of all, is to start reading books, you know, while you're traveling, or find yourself the right circle of people around you, you know, who are entrepreneurs, and be a little bit more curious outside of football. Yeah. But I will go in detail later with brand management for players.
Also, I would like to ask for Mr. Campbell, what the players doing strongly after the career?
Good morning, everybody. For me, it's a mixture of, you know, after your career is finished, a lot of the players have really concentrated. Julie was talking about that. And I think for my generation and before, maybe not so much now, you would concentrate on your football, you would go into areas, maybe a coach, or maybe TV presenter. But the trouble is, how many spots are there for coaches? How many spots are there for presenters? There's not many. So a lot of the players would kind of look into, you know, the old famous will go into property. Well, not everyone's got enough money to go into property. And they can get stuck sometimes with up and down markets of property. So you have a really interesting kind of parallel, you know, when you retire, because you've been so looked after 24/7, everything's looked after, your schedule's done, you know your routine, you know how much time you spend with your kids, your wife, your girlfriend, or whatever, and then it all goes. And then you have to really start to kind of concentrate and understand how real life is going, because sometimes in football you are in a little bit of a bubble, and the bubble is everything is looked after you, and it's lovely and it's easy, and you just have to worry about making sure you're fit and playing football. But then once that bubble bursts, you're into the real world, and sometimes it's a big shock, because not everyone can slide into a job with TV or radio and pay decent money as well. You have to remember that as well. So, you know, a lot of the players have to kind of go into their own bank account and start to kind of work out, how do I go from here? I'm a young man, I'm 35. Sometimes if you get injured at 25, you know, some players are lucky enough to go on to 40. But then you've got 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 plus. And you have to deal with that. It's a long time. You know, the old saying is play as long as you can, because you're a long time retired. So for me, I went into property, I went into design to kind of further myself, because I didn't want to rely on football after football, you know. I didn't want to have a situation that, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to get a coaching job and I'm going to here, A, B, C, and then in 10 years' time I'll be in the Premiership. You don't know. Football's so precarious. You know, 1 minute you're riding high, next couple of years it doesn't happen, you're out of football. So what do you do? So I went into property and investments. But not everyone's like that. Some players get a situation, some players get divorced. That's a massive thing in football, huge thing in football, you know, because they show you before they're on the road and all of a sudden they're at home and they're seeing their wife every day, and before they used to see their wife maybe twice a week, and now are seeing them every day, and then the wife as well says, oh, I'm seeing you every day, I actually don't like you anymore, you know, and we laugh, but it does happen.
Yeah.
You know, the massive, it's like, I think 70-80% of players after retirement get divorced. It's a big hole in your pocket. You know, divorce is a very, very, very expensive situation. And if you haven't got any money or ideas to get you out of a situation like that, then, well, 1 minute you're riding high at 35, next minute your money is cut in half, and then that has to last you again. So you have to be clever and understand how money works, and put things into good investments, but not everyone is in that situation, and that's what we have to help. Not everyone is in that situation and privileged to have good people around them. You know, Julie was saying Ronaldo and Messi, yeah, there's some players out there who have good people around them, but there's a lot of footballers that haven't got good people around them. Yeah. And even now, players who have earned a lot of money and they're retiring in 10 years, some of them still haven't got good people around them. So the circle keeps on going around and around, and in the end, I think the football clubs have to help out. But if you get divorced and things like that, then that's a part of life. Sometimes that happens. But that's something else as well. You have to choose your partner right, because some of them getting married at 21, they don't even know themselves. They don't know who they're marrying sometimes. Yeah, you look good, I look good, we have a good time, blah, blah, blah, let's get married. And then 10 years later, it's not the best. So that's another thing, to have, you know, think players be mature and understand, you know, sometimes you might have to wait to get married or whatever, because I'm only 21. So there's different factors, but the main thing is getting good people around you. Good people around you who mean the best intentions for you, will do the good investments for you, will help you, will love you in that kind of way, because you need a lot of love around you in football, because sometimes there's so much tension, so much pressure. So many people want you to succeed, and there's the same amount of people want you to fail. So it's really kind of, you know, for your mind, and, you know, you need that kind of satisfaction of knowing the people around you are good and want you to do well.
Thank you. So I want to turn here. Şu şekilde Türkçe soracağım size. Kariyerlerini bitirdikleri anda nasıl bir psikolojiye bürünüyor elit sporcular?
După ce termin cariera de fotbal, ce psihologie ai, cum te afectează psihologic?
Este pentru că ești obișnuit să fii tot timpul în centrul atenției. O să traduci de
Tabii ki psikolojik olarak devamlı futbolcuyken şeydesin, herkesin gözünün önündesin. Futbolu bıraktıktan sonra artık bu işler bitiyor.
Nu e cazul meu, pentru că m-am pregătit din timp, dar am atât de mulți foști colegi de un nivel foarte mare fotbalistic, care asupra cărora s-a resimțit mult șocul ăsta al dispariției astea din prim plan. Nu erau pregătiți.
Ben hazırdım bu iş için, ama birçok takım arkadaşım, eski takım arkadaşlarım psikolojik olarak hazır değildiler. Ön planda, her zaman ön planda oluyordun. Birden artık kimse seni fazla ilgilenmiyordu ve bazıları kötü konularda şey yaptılar, etkilediler yani.
Am colegi de generație care în momentul de față sunt muncitori, ori prin Anglia, ori prin Italia, ori prin Spania, pur și simplu muncitori.
Mesela
De vârsta mea, adică un an sau doi mai în vârstă.
eski futbolcu arkadaşlarım var. Benim yaşlarımda ve bir yaş benden büyük, küçük. Şu anda işçi olarak çalışıyorlar. İspanya'da, İngiltere'de, İtalya'da.
Kariyer planları Kariyer planlamasına, futbol hayatını bitirdiğindeki kariyer planlamasına ne zaman başladı? Aktif futbol hayatında bunu planlıyor muydu? Ve şu an olduğu yerden mutlu mu?
Mi-am făcut planul. Cu siguranță, da, am început școala de antrenori cu, bine, am și stat mult pe teren până la 39 de ani în prima ligă din România, dar întotdeauna am avut în cap doar partea asta tehnică. Nu am vrut să aud de administrativ, de absolut nimic, pentru că fotbalul e viața mea și o să fie cât trăiesc.
Tabii daha futbolculuğum zamanında hazırlanmaya başladım. Zaten 39 yaşına kadar Romanya Süper Ligi'nde oynadım. Sonra da daha alt liglerde oynadım. Ama son zamanlarda futbolculuk antrenörlük kursları başladım. Ve ben hoca olarak çalışmayı sevmiyorum. Yani sahanın içinde olmak istiyorum. Düşünmedim yani sportif direktörlük veya kulüp başkanlığı. Ben düşüncem hocalık yani futbol
Doar pe
hocalık.
teren îmi dă senzația de libertate terenul de fotbal. Nu?
Ben sahaya çok aşığım. Orada da kendimi çok iyi hissediyorum. Yani orada kendimi serbest hissediyorum.
So, when you start to planning your career after your professional football life?
Sorry, you said that again. 'Cause of these.
Sorry. When you start planning your career after your professional life, like when you're playing, you are still start to planning your life after your professional life.
I think for me is you really need to, when I go back, reflect back in my career, it was frowned upon to actually look forward to the future and understand that you need to kind of do something for the future. It was frowned upon. It was like, oh, you have to kind of concentrate in football to the last second. And then, okay, off you go and see you later, enjoy your life. For me, I wasn't like that. I kind of started planning coaching and my business from about 20, 21. 20 really. I started a pension. Before that, in England, we have this PFA, Professional Association, that looks after all the players. Even if you play 1 minute in the Football League, you are protected and you are helped. And that's the beautiful thing about the PFA. But I started my pension at 17, which is unheard of. But I knew at 17 that sometimes you have to really plan that far ahead. And I knew something no one told me, but they came across and said, look, you want to start a pension? And I thought about it at 16, 17. I said, yeah, I want to do it. But not everyone did that. I have some players who never in football haven't got a pension. It's incredible because now the rules have changed. It's more harder to kind of get your money into a pension. Back then it was very open and easy, and the government would give you, I'm just giving you an example, you put 60p in, like 60p, and they put 40p to make £1. And that, that's a incredible thing, and that wasn't explained to a lot of my friends. A lot of my friends in football haven't got pensions, because not everyone has an amazing career that can afford your life from 35, 45 on to you pass away and you pass on to the kids. Not everyone is in that position, and that should have been told to some of my friends. So I started early in a lot of things in my life, and I would say to any player now, as soon as you start playing football, as soon as you start making some decent money, start investing in your future beyond 35 and 40. And I used to do that, and I did that in property, I did that in investments, and sometimes you need some money and you have to buy things for yourself as well. You can't be just completely boring, but you have to have one thing side of your brain and side of your life and say, oh, it may end when I'm 25. I may get injured, or I may play 2 decades in football. I never knew. For me, when I was before I was 25, I used to take insurance out of my insurance of my career, just in case I got injured. I didn't get injured, but I spent a lot of money on insuring myself. A lot of players don't insure themselves anymore. Yeah. It's unbelievable. You get injured in one tackle. Yeah, the football club have a contract to reclaim their own insurance, but what have you got? Have you got insurance, injury insurance, just in case you finish at 25 and you miss 10 years of growth of money and earning power and actually enjoyment of playing football? So players have to think about that as well, like life insurance or injury insurance, just in case it doesn't work out for you in football. So I was always conscious of these things. With insurance, I stopped at 31, I stopped. But for my main career, majority of my career, I had insurance. And all these little things all add up if you've got good people around you. You know, not everyone's got that kind of, I feel I have to do that. Some people need good people to say, hey, you should put your money into here, save it there, spend it there, things like that to help you, you know, go on in life and to make sure you're comfortable. You know, you're never going to, not everyone's going to earn the same amount of money when they retire again. Only a few players can do that, you know, with investments or sporting investments and things like that, or invest in football clubs, and not everyone's going to be earning the same money. So obviously your money is going to be cut 50, 60, 70%, but as long as you've got a good base that can go on, support yourself, your family, your kids, and have a comfortable life, then it's fine. But some players don't even think like that. They think it's always going to keep coming, the money's always going to keep coming in. And in reality, when you stop, it really does stop. It goes boom, it's flatline, and you've got to start a new life.
So what we said, when players living this shining life, they don't want to know future. And as a professional, what do you advise for players for management financially?
I would like to also add something what Sol just said. I think it's not really fair just to put all the responsibility on the player alone. Yeah, but the player really has to understand that he's an employee for the club and he has a limited contract. And I think there's a responsibility also of the club to educate the players and give them financial advisory or financial education, to be honest, because everybody knows money makes money. So, and if you go as a player to a bank with your contract, with your working contract, and they will look at you and be like, this is a 9 months contract, you don't get any kind of loan, you know? So it's much better for player to understand, like, you have to save your money, and instead of buying, first of all, what is the asset? Some people like don't even know what financial in the terms, like what's an asset, you know? It's a house, it's an asset. When is it an asset? So, it's not an asset if you're in debt with that house, you know? And when is a house profitable? So when they make the money, they want to buy a 10 million euro villa, you know, but maybe it's much better just to buy a 1-bedroom apartment and it's already paid off, you know, with the amount. And then you slowly build, like Sol said, with real estate, property. That's like the easiest way, you know, to make money, you know. And then, of course, they have a bunch of friends who tell them, oh, you have cash, let me, I have this great restaurant and I have this great brand idea. Let's join in, but you don't understand, you're not coming from that business. So who's running the restaurant? Are you the chef? Do you know how to, you know, do this kind of hospitality, or do you know what brand management is about with a brand? And then you go in the industry with full of accessories, you know, and then you're the new person who has another bag, you know, with his name or brand on. Why should I buy this bag? So you fan community, if you're not a huge big star, your fan community is not that crazy about you, and it will not turn into money. So, and then we have really like these most, I would say, valuable player and most probably popular players. But then we have a lot of average performance players or maybe low performance players who are like in second league, third league, and they still say, I'm a football player. Of course you are, but not on that level where you can last like 30 years with your income. And to be honest, like Sol said, when you start with 40, that's like really prime time if you're still like fit. But nobody talks about their back pain, their injuries 7 times here, right, surgery, and your back is killing you. So you're kind of sacrificing your health to a really serious level, where I'm thinking hopefully this person is still well when he's 50 or 60. So we are kind of in this whole ecosystem. Of course, we're using the player as a muppet. Kind of, it's entertainment. But we have, that's why I think it's our responsibility. Yeah, they entertain us well, but we have to stay fair and give this, they are humans and they have to also provide for their families. We have to give them these fair chances. And especially these organizations are very rare. Like you're happy in England that you have that player organization association, you know, professional players. So they give like, they tell you, okay, after you don't get the pro license immediately, the UEFA pro license. You have to go all these ways, and this takes years, step by step, and it's maybe another 4 or 5 years on investment. And then if you want to go for a master or bachelor on a private school, it's like 30, 40K, you know. So that's kind of investment you have to put on the side for later. And of course, when you come from working class, you know, as a child, and then you were maybe not lucky to get into an academy system like it is nowadays, you know. Of course, if I have cash, I just want to buy, first of all, a nice watch, and I want a nice car, you know. So I'm spending my money on the wrong assets, you know. And a car is losing money. It's not making money, it's losing money. So, and what kind of business is profitable? That's all education. We have to educate much more our players. And just to wrap it up, I think when we are lucky now. I think the players right now are really lucky with this education in these academies. Because when I visit the academies, they are really protected by the club, and they get really the best information about their nutrition, their sleep, their performance, and also this media coaching. So they're preparing their players also. It's now a topic about financial education as well in these academies. But it's a long way.
Thank you. Hocamıza sormak istiyorum şimdi. Kendisi şu anda milli takımlarda hoca ve genç yaştaki futbolcularla çalışıyor. Şu anda onlara hocalıklarını yaparken aynı anda herhangi bir tavsiyede bulunuyor mu finansal konudan kendilerini geliştirmeleri ya da nasıl bir planlama içinde olmaları konusunda?
Acum ești antrenor la Naționala de Tineret. Le dai indicații la fotbaliști, dar le dai și despre partea financiară, ce să facă cu banii, ce să investească, să le dai sfaturi.
O ascultam și mai devreme pe Julie. E greu. La vârsta asta, când ești la 20-21 de ani, mintea e greu să-ți fie la finanțe și la viitor, pentru că așa suntem toți. Eu primul sfat, și am avut șansa să fiu antrenat de Mircea Lucescu de la 19 ani, apropo de subiectul lor, pe lângă multe altele din fotbal, de tehnico-tactic legat de viață, de cultură, de educație, o vorbă spunea așa: mașinile frumoase și femeile nu se termină la 35 de ani, că nu o să aveți. Viața e mult mai frumoasă după aia, dacă sunteți atenți acum.
Julia Hanım da dinledim. Çok zor. 20-21 yaşlarında futbolcuların akıllı sadece finansı düşünmüyorlar. Ben şansım Mr. Lucescu'yla çalıştım 19 yaşından itibaren ve bazı tavsiyeleri oldu bize. Hatırlıyorum, bize söylüyordu, güzel arabalar ve güzel kızlar hiçbir zaman bitmez. 30-35 yaşından sonra da bulursun bunları. Ama siz akıllı olursanız ve parayı ne yapacağını bilseniz 35 yaşından sonra da bu şeyleri yaşayabilirsin diye. Ama 20-21 yaşlarında aklın çok fazla şey yapmıyor, düşünmüyor finans konusunu.
Nu, am avut parte și de educație financiară în anii aia, vorbesc de 97-98, nu știu, dacă mă întreb pe mine și pe noi, cel mai ușor e să investești în imobiliare, pentru că la afaceri spunea foarte bine, să te bagi la restaurante și la altfel de lucruri deschise e foarte greu.
Tabii ki finans konusunda o yaşlarda ben de bazı şeyler olduğu öğrendim. O yaşlarda mesela restoran açmak, başka ticarete atılmak daha zor. Yatırımı o zamanlar daha çok arsa ve eve yatırmak daha iyi bence diye düşünüyorum.
Ne învățau de atunci să investi de acțiuni, de bursă, dar nu cred că a riscat nimeni.
O zaman bile bazıları bize öneriyordular. Borsaya girin, ne bileyim değişik firmalara alın, pay alın. Ama zor. O işleri anlamadığım için girmedim.
So today our panel sponsor is Soccer Piaz. They have provided great and rich support for our Winter League commentation. I would like to ask, because they are a digital agency, they care about marketing for players for visual images on the internet. What do you think is the social medium important today for player career?
The social media? Yeah. What's the most important thing? Unfortunately, it's unfair to say, but not everybody has the potential to be a brand on social media. So social media is really an entertainment platform, in my personal opinion. It's an outlet. You can present yourself, for sure. People nowadays, they just swipe and click way too fast, so they don't really care. They're just looking at stories, swiping, want to see, be entertained. But if you want to build your brand as a player, you know, and you want to use social media, of course, with this kind of reaches from the club side, also from your friends, players' friends, you know, who are also famous and popular, you have a very, I mean, you're in a very well and most effective environment right now with digital transformation and these kind of social media outlets, you know, where you can just reach so many followers and people who are interested in your life. But it's really important to have a strategy and a balance, yeah? So the balance is not to give out too much personal stuff. I mean, I don't know if you just followed, there were some players, for example, from Hertha BSC. I just want to know one case. He took his phone into the cabine, you know, and then he was kind of filming behind the scenes, but at the same time the coach was explaining the strategy for the pitch. So, you know, that was like a failure, or after that there was like cursing or something, it just got a backlash, you know. So it's and then of course you cannot, what else do you have to expose? You're just practically you're just like practicing, you're going on the pitch, off the pitch, you're home, you're playing maybe PlayStation or hanging out with your friends, and it's always the same routine. So it's not super exciting. So then you have to be, as a player, you have to create content, you know. So what kind of content are you creating? And some of the players, unfortunately, are not so much into nutrition, because they are in this, like you said, in this bubble, and also in this kind of 360-degree and 100% getting served, you know, bubble, where you are, from every side you have people helping you, yeah? So you don't have to think for yourself. Everybody comes already with recommendation. These are your supplements, this is what you're eating, this is how you're practicing, this is how you're performing on the pitch. And then you're thinking, oh, this club already has a social media team. That's why it's really luck if you find the right circles, and I think this is the most challenging thing. My advice would be for players, how about attending this kind of conferences as a player, you know? I wish young players would be more active. Also, like and I also try to encourage our organizers, event organizers or conference organizers, please like invite these kind of players, like who are also actually playing. The club should be more open to send their players to conferences, you know? So let them talk about how they feel, their emotion. We always we started lately talk about mental health, you know? But we started talking about this after, unfortunately, all these tragedy with suicide has happened, you know? Like young players taking their lives, and because they don't know how to handle depression, how to handle this kind of pressure all the time. And then you have maybe stress at home with your wife or your girlfriend, and you're not happy with your situation. You're injured and you cannot play this season, and you're at the second team, and you're like all confused, and you're left alone. And then you have only one team psycholog, and you're thinking like, if I tell this guy or the girl what I'm going through, probably all my teammates will know, and the coach will know, and probably not getting back into the team again. So unfortunately, we leave them too much alone. So I think that's why I'm coming back. I think as a player, you have a lot of already on your plate. How do you want to do social media on the side? It's a whole business. Like, because we have e-commerce, we have everything is connected now to social media. So the best thing would be to find these professionals who explain you how they want to do a strategy, educate yourself. I mean, I didn't know anything of finances, so I bought a book and read about finances. You know, I educated myself. Like, start with the small steps and then try to find the people, go to conferences, educate yourself, go on LinkedIn. A lot of players have now a LinkedIn profile. Super interesting. Because they think about, they want to connect and see and observe. And I think in our industry, especially in football, not every business is like this in sports. But in football, we have the most professional, educated sports professionals, like off the pitch. We have really good, great people who have sport tech involved in finance, they do high advisory. So even if you don't know anyone, you can just Google and see, you know, over LinkedIn and find someone and then directly contact them. Yeah.
Size de sormak istiyorum. Oyuncuların sosyal medya yönetimleri konusunda ne düşünüyor?
Ce te gândești despre social media?
Eu cred că îi afectează foarte mult, îi influențează pozitiv, negativ. Nu prea sunt de acord cu activitatea asta prea mult în social media. Aș prefera de la tinerii jucători să vină să vorbească în fața noastră, cum spunea foarte bine, adică dezvoltarea să fie mult mai pe partea umană, relaționarea și tot ce ține de lucrurile astea să fie interumane, adică mai prezenți fizic.
Bence de bu sosyal medya etkiliyor futbolcuları. Bazıları belki de pozitif ama daha çok negatif. Ben daha şeyden yanayım, yani direkt konuşmaya gelip sosyal medyanın üzerinden değil, böyle ön öne göz göze görüşüp direkt konuşmaktan taraftarıyım.
Să se facă văzuți, să fie întotdeauna interviuri la televiziune, să vorbească despre viața lor, despre ce gândesc, despre viitor, despre ce trăiesc. Adică aș prefera mai fizic.
Benim tarafından bakarsanız daha iyi televizyonlara, değişik televizyon programlarına katılsınlar, canlı yayınlarına katılsınlar, sosyal medyanın üzerinden değil, spor programları değişik. Kendi şeyini nasıl, kendi personalitesini nasıl geliştirecek, onları böyle televizyon programlarında konuşsunlar, sosyal medya üzerinden değil.
So, what's your future plans?
One thing I want to, say, I wanted to add to social media. The thing for me is, Julie's correct and everyone's correct that social media is here and it does affect people and players. If something goes wrong, sometimes the backlash is too much for people to handle, the players and also the people who love them, their families and things like that. But then for me, when I look at social media, there's two sides. I mean, sometimes if you have 10 million followers or 50 million followers or 1 million followers, sometimes the powers of be who are looking to employ people, some of them are actually picking people through social media. Say, oh, he has 5 million people following him. Oh, he must be good. Yeah, let's give him a job. And then they get a job, he's actually not good at the job. So for me, sometimes social media and people have to start to realize, if you want to know about someone, actually talk to them, like an old-fashioned, talk to them and see who they are. That's the correct way, not picking people and giving them jobs because they've got 1 million, 5 million, 50 million people following them. That's one of the things I wanted to clear up and put my side to social media. So yeah, and you want to know what I'm doing next? Sorry, right. Well, for me, it's all about I've studied football. I've had 2 decades in football and international football, and I played around the world. And I've had 3 World Cups, 2 European Cups for my country. I've played over 500 games in the Premiership. I've got a lot of accolades. I've won a lot of things, in domestic league. Played in Champions League finals. So. Yes, I've had 2 jobs so far in England, and I would love to have, try to go back into football because I love football. Football gives me the energy. Every time I step on the pitch, I get energized and I get the feelings. But, you know, you have the middle bit between, you know, getting the job and talking and having the conversations and having the meetings and hopefully having the meeting to kind of get the job, or you're down to the last two or whatever. That's, you know, that's the difficult part, you know, looking for a job. I think when you get the job, you can just settle down and get on with the job. But the hardest thing is getting a job and getting the interviews, I feel, anyway. You want to articulate and get who you are across. Sometimes in countries that gets clouded and people don't look at what you can do. They kind of look at who you are instead of, you know, how I can do the job, or if I can do the job. And that's what they should be looking. Sometimes, you know, you have people looking at the wrong criteria and almost personal criteria instead of looking at, oh, can this guy do the job? Let's see if he can do the job, or let's give him a chance. So that's what I want to do. Go back into football. You never know. I might work in Turkey. I've been there a few times. If I could help Turkey in any capacity, it'd be really good. I want to pass on my knowledge, work hard, and for me, I love to be able to pass on knowledge, and then the players accept that or take parts of it, and then they transfer it onto the pitch. And that's the most beautiful kind of thing for me, to see you be able to change or enhance a good player or a very good player, and be able to kind of see them use bits of that on the pitch to make, you know, because professional footballers, if you want to be really good, you're always tweaking, you always want to make sure you're at the optimum prime position and you're on the level, because everybody drops. You know, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're an amazing player, you always drop, and then good players wake up and say, hey, I got to, you know, do this, do that. And if you have a coach who just can give you one thing to change your game to get back up to the top, give you that extra 5% to go back to 100%, that's the beautiful thing I want to do. And I've been through a lot of things in football, up and down, and got myself up again, but I've seen a lot of things, and being at the top, being at the bottom, but I know quality, and I know how to give the quality, so that passes on to the player so they can use it in their games. And sometimes a good manager around you can actually help you in life as well. There's always, you become a psychologist as well, not the whole life, but there might be one part you have a little conversation over a course of 6 months that can actually help. Sometimes managers have to be a little bit of, not a sports psychologist, but, you know, someone, a mentor in some capacity. Not all capacity, but there's something, because no one's perfect. No one's perfect. But if you can help them on the field, and sometimes off the field in a little way, that can enhance their game and also enhance their lives.
Julie, I want to ask you also, what's your advice for young people who want to work in the sport business as a consultant as well?
As a player?
As a player, professional?
Okay. I'm happy that our sports business changes right now a little bit. You know, I'm happy that the new FIFA agent rule comes, and I think it's great that we have these courses, and UEFA or FIFA has these master classes and also certificates, and also this now finally have these special programs for players. It doesn't matter if male or female players, so they can get a taste of, if you have a passion, of course, I totally understand that you want to still be on the pitch. You know, you just want to, they say like, I want to still be at this field. Yeah. So yeah, that if that's your passion, then just go for it. It's definitely, because you just have one life. So do that what you feel like. But if you want to just learn, I say I have a lot of former players, and I'm glad that I can work with Sol, and before that I worked with Oliver Kahn, you know, and when I'm also in the clubs, I see Sammer or Rudi Völler, like all these old legends, Lothar Matthäus, and I see what they are trying to do with their career and also with their contacts. And I think as a player, there's like two different ways. I think if you reach a certain level of fame, performance, because of your credibilities, you know, like, and you're kind of in this legend status, of course you have it much more easier. Yeah. So my advice first for a player is, please, like, get yourself educated and just focus on your career first of all, like build that professional sportive career of yours. and then start already educating yourself. And I hope that these player agents will also disappear, some of them, because I mean, I studied sports management. I'm allowed to advise a player anytime. But then I'm looking in my industry and I'm thinking like, what is this guy's background? And he's just working in a company somewhere. It's not related even, construction company, or he's not even a lawyer, you know, he's not a finance guy, nothing. There must be really strict restrictions to be a player agent, because you give career advice to a young player. And I mean, the club manager or the coach has already so much responsibility. It's great that these legends who are continuing then to coach are also like doing their social work in their clubs, you know, advising their young players. But imagine we have so many leagues where we don't have these opportunities and all these possibilities. So most of the players, I would say more than 80% of the players, they're lost, you know. So I think it's more the responsibility of federations and associations, also trainer associations, to educate young players already, to inform, to help people who retire, and give seminars, coaching classes, mentoring programs. I think we don't have that. We have it in other businesses, you know, in professional life. How about you have a mentee like Sol, like being in the federation and having this kind of social responsibility in the federation, or in your federation the same, you know? Because I'm sure you guys can make some extra time, and at least you're dedicating, you know, to the next generation. And so we have a little bit a toxic side of our industry, so I think we should also, I mean, try to be optimistic, but we can only change if we first of all start speaking about our problems. And when we speak about these issues, we don't leave these players alone, and we take all responsibility in this ecosystem. And then we start really working on having maybe working groups with former professional players. Because I see all the time the media is kind of luring in front of the, you know, over them. They're like, as soon as they enter career, they're like, okay, how can we destroy this guy? He doesn't deserve a second great career, you know. He has already a legend here. So off the pitch, this guy has to fail, you know. So most of the players, when they retire, they don't get the chance. They don't get included at all, you know. They can be happy if their old club allows them to watch a training session. And not even, maybe they can be a training of an academy, not even, you know. So I see when I work with different clubs, for example, with Real Madrid, they always they have the academy system, and they also have for their former players, they have these programs of being an ambassador in the club, or they are starting, okay, you want to coach, how about you start coaching our academy, you know, you 11, 13, whatever, you know. So this is where I see this club already has a healthy structure for players, but not everybody is blessed with that, yeah.
Thank you. Daniel'in planlaması nedir bundan sonra kariyerinde?
Planul tău de cariera ta de viitor.
Să ajung ca antrenor, cel puțin cât am fost ca și jucător. Simplu.
Hoca olarak en az futbolcu kadar başarılı olayım.
So, there is any question?
Good morning. Sol, this is a question for you. Colourful career, as you've mentioned. You've had over 500 league games, to titles with Arsenal. Such a colourful career that now when we look into social media, as you said as well, a lot of players do actually, you know, are actually on there. They get recognised. In your time, that didn't exist. Have you ever thought about it, or do you ever think it could have been a different path if social media was to exist then?
That's a good question. I think there's a lot of players who played my time and maybe before. If social media was around, they'll probably have 10, 15, 20 million people following them. But you know, it's not everyone's privileged to be in a position, and also sometimes it was a different era. Some of the players didn't really want to understand that because that was the life. And when it was coming, you know, I was kind of saying, well, this is not. I don't want to be a part of this. Now it's here to stay, to you know, in whatever form, and sometimes it changes with owners and things like that, and people change their how that social media looks and looks to the world. But yeah, I think it would have been different. You know, there's some players who, you know, with not a lot of character or ability, and they've got, I don't know, 2-3 million people following them. You know, and at my time, they'll probably be, I'm not saying there'll be nothing, but they have nothing about them, no character, no nothing. But you can afford to build, I'm not saying a fake kind of lifestyle, but in some cases it is. Because when you actually meet some of the guys, they have nothing about them. And that's the thing with social media. It can fool you into thinking that this person is bigger than they are. I know a lot of players who are, you know, not good characters and nothing about them. They have a lot of people following them. But I know when I look in their eyes that they have nothing about them. But that's what social media can do.
They're a player.
Yeah, social media can almost, you know, shroud who they really are. And yeah, and then there's some guys that are really big and they are got a lot of people following them as well. So it's a mixture. But I think for my time, if some of the players I know, if they were playing now, they will have millions of people following them.
Yeah. Just to add on to that, do you think that social media and player profiles have an influence on clubs and their decisions?
I think they have big, huge, gigantic things with their decision makings for sure, and I think managers as well. For me, if you are picking players and managers because of social media, we are really, really struggling. But that is the case because the guys and the women who are looking at the social media, because everyone wants to look at, oh, I want to find out a little bit more about this person who might come into my club, might be a manager, might be a player, might be whatever capacity. They are looking. You know, looking. But if you really want to know about someone, you go and talk to them. And have a proper conversation and get proper questions and go from there. Don't allow people who have got the axe to grind to say, oh, I don't like him because someone said this on his social media, or he said this or he said that. I think you need to find out about people, talk to them, and then you find out and you have a proper interview. You sit down and you talk to them. Yes, you can find out by people who are close to them or people in the industry, but in the end, you know, there's always one or two who have an axe to grind, and to truly find the person you want to employ, you talk to themselves. You talk to them, you know, talk to them like, you know, let me have a conversation with this guy or woman and find out who they really are, because who they really are within the conversation will come out anyway, because no one can keep fooling you all the time if you are good at your job at interviewing.
And
but we still have, I have to add something on this. It's good that we still are in our business. We still have, when we talk to our scouts, head scouts, and yes, social media is an important tool, but thank God the performance is much more important of the player, you know. And I mean, why do you want to have so many million followers? Maybe to get like brand corporations, you know, to have like advertise some promotional stuff. But that's already restricted in your contract as a professional player for your club. So it gives you just a limited time off the contract, maybe just a couple months, and you have to ask your club if this is okay to post this for advertisement. So it's still a tricky thing. So we are just, of course, you can collect your followers, but you cannot make it to money. Not while you're signed with a club.
Great, thank you. Can I just ask one more question, please? Sol, thank you for that, and thank you too. You mentioned you're colourful. We've mentioned your colourful career, and you've also mentioned that you like to get back into football. Obviously, that's something that you're aiming to get back now into. But what is your ideal career path from this point onwards? Are we talking sporting director, coach?
I think for me, it's been away from the game for for a while allows you to kind of think about different departments. I've been a coach a couple of times. I don't think I've completely, I totally understand if I had 10 jobs with decent clubs, with decent budgets, a couple of pre-seasons to get my team together again over 10 years, and I might say, do you know what, yeah, it's for me or not for me. I've not even started in my football career, coaching-wise, so I can't even ask that. I would love to be in football as a coach. Some people might say, oh, you're better in the boardroom or whatever, but I want to be on the pitch, and I want to pass my knowledge on, but I have not been given the opportunity to kind of do that for whatever reason. And that's, I think, the more people, the more you're on conferences, the more you talk, and the more people can start to get to know you. And this is, you know, I'm not saying this is an interview, but you know, I don't know how many times you've heard me speak, but that's what it's all about. The more you talk, the more people get to know you, and the more the kind of the resistant walls start falling down, and people start to find who you are. And then hopefully someone can say, hey, I like his mentality, I like this, I like that, so I don't like this or whatever. But you know, overall, yeah, I think he's a good fit for this club or this association.
Thank you. Well, we've got no doubt the future holds a colourful career as much as your playing career did. So thank you and best of luck.
I would like to say thank you for being here.
It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for our speakers, and also it's an honor to see women in that stage in football industry. And as Julie said, seriously, like, you're such an inspirational conversation, and you also know what's the balance, everything, and the way you explain things, it's really understandable for everybody, even the young generation. And it's such a great pleasure to see all those things happening in that stage. So we are going to give the certificates, and yeah, can you come and have the certificates? And after all these things, we're going to take a picture. Thank you so much again. Next picture, please. Do you have a photographer? Uh-huh. Thank you so much again, with an applause to our guests. Thank you so much. And we're going to have a break, 10 minutes, and after that we're going to discuss the future ways to raise club incomes. It's another important topic to discuss. So thank you, we'll meet soon.